Elsewhere on the Division II scene, we have a coach moving up to the Division I FCS level, and not as an assistant, not as some type of coordinator. He's going to be the head coach. That's Brian Wright. He's hired as the 31st coach in program history over at Northern Arizona. This was the official announcement from NAU Athletics I would say it's Monday, so this was just yesterday. There is a peek right here at Brian Wright, the new head coach over there at NAU, and I was going to pull up the Twitter version of that, but either way, a big-time move for Brian Wright. He'd only been with Pittsburg State for a few seasons. Obviously, they have experienced a lot of success with this man at the helm. Oh, that's why it opened up, because it's an article. But big-time move for him, and very excited to see what that entails for him and that team moving forward. I will give you a couple more, at least, facts about this one, but it was announced on December 3rd. So yes, yesterday, Sunday, this was announced. And according to their athletic director, he says that he was a targeted candidate who quickly became our top choice as NAU's football coach. His track record of success as both a head coach and offensive coordinator and quarterbacks coach is impressive, and we're eager for his experience to translate into success at NAU. So pretty basic kind of introductory piece there, but he's been at Pitt State since 2019, so not a crazy long stint there with the Gorillas, but in his time there, they have been dominant. The last 2 years, 23-3 between 2023 and 2022. Obviously, back-to-back MIAA champions, and then playoff runs, both ending pretty deep into the playoffs for him over there. So I think there's definitely going to be a lot more football played at Pittsburg State. But kudos to Brian Wright and his family. That's going to be a fun move for them to go over there, and probably a pretty good bump to the wallet as well. Now, as it concerns the now current head coach of Pittsburg State, kudos to them, because they did not stick around and wait to make this decision. And you will see here as I get it pulled up, this face coming in to lead Pittsburg State from the future is a familiar one to the Gorillas squad over there. So let's take a watch of what they had posted out.
Where this program is and where you guys have got us to, that we need to continue that momentum. We don't even need to take one day off. There's not going to be a surge. There's not going to be any downtime. We're ready to roll. So let me formally introduce the 16th head coach of Gorilla football to you guys. It may be a name you recognize, Coach Tom Anthony.
Let's go, baby!
There you have it. Tom Anthony, the now head football coach for Pittsburg State Gorillas. And what's really interesting about this, Tom was going through and reading some of the cliff notes, because I am not familiar with much of the history as far as their coaching staff is concerned. But he was the former associate head coach for the program, but he actually left this last year to pursue a job in a private sector outside of football. So he's not on the staff this last year. He left after the previous season. So a year away from football, obviously he's itching to get back, and they seem to think that this is the perfect fit for them to come back. A lot of the guys on this roster and this team are very familiar with him. I would be curious to hear some of their thoughts on kind of that dynamic of a coach leaving the staff for a year and now coming back in a more prominent position than he had before. Seems interesting to me, to say in the slightest. But I mean, talk about a guy that's obviously very familiar with the program, with their culture and those kind of things. And if you are in a position where you're Pittsburg State and your team is one of the top 5 teams in the country, one of the top, at least top 10 teams in the country right now, and you talk about performance on the field, you can't afford to have this long out process and potentially take a step back when it comes to losing student athletes or other pieces of your staff to the portal and other jobs across the country. So they get this done very quickly. I think the timing is very important here. And you have a guy who knows the culture here. He knows the student athletes. He knows the staff. He knows the system. It seems like very much so this will just be Pittsburg State picking up right where they left off. And I think the Division II scene is better when Pittsburg State is a damn good football team. So I, for one, am very excited about that. He had joined the staff initially in December 2019 as defensive coordinator, and then was elevated to that role of associate head coach prior to the 2022 season. So, defensive-minded coach for the Gorillas.